Hi, my name is Hamid. I'm a certified instructor at ASM Educational Center. This is our homepage, is asmed.com, and you see this is our landing page. When I go here, we go here, it's going to take you to our landing page. Basically what we do, we offer Microsoft, Cisco, Amazon, CompTIA, NetOPlus, Secure Plus, and all the certification. We have a special combo with $7 discount for our company package. Now when you go to Amazon classes, we do offer these training. We offer cloud practitioner, solution architecture, developer associate, we do professional, we do DevOps, machine learning, advanced networking, and other classes too. So basically, also we have here, on here we have a blogs. When you go to the blogs, we have Amazon AWS. So everything that I'm going to do is going to show up right here on the blogs on Amazon AWS. Okay. All right, welcome back. So today we're going to talk about network load balancer. So let me tell you what's going to happen here. Basically I have a VPC which is located at 10.0.0/16. Then you have two subnet, 10.0.10/0.24, that's for US East 1A, and they have 10.0.30/24 as US East 1C. In here, we're going to boot up a server, Linux server. It's going to be port 80. We're going to install Apache server, acts like a web server. Here, after we connecting RDP to Windows, we're going to install IIS, so act like a web server. Then I'm going to connect to via port 80, and this one is going to be via port 8080. That's the whole process of the lab is, okay? So here's the difference. I've done application load balancer in last video. So make sure you review that application load balancer, and this is network load balancer we're going to do today. So basically application load balancer works on HTTP, HTTPS. Network load balancer works on TCP and UDP and all that good stuff, okay? Then we have a platform, VPC, all of that, health check, everything similar to that here. The only difference that this guy is about path-based routing on this one, but this one is not path-based routing. When you come down, then this one we have a static IP address and that, but this one there's no IP address, okay? So that's kind of like main difference between these two guys is. So before we do that, step one, we'll have a two server. We will have Windows 2019 server. Actually, this should be 2019, apologize. This should be 2019 server and Linux server, like call out Linux web. In here, we're going to two websites. One is running in Linux machine called Linux Web on East 1A, which I'm going to show right now. And the default port, we're going to use port 80. And another one, we're going to install IIS on Windows Server on port 88, US 1 East, okay? Instead of IIS, we need to go to IIS Manager and change the binding to port 8080, and also create a custom role to that the Windows Firewall will accept port 8080 as inbound. So that's what we're going to do. So basically what I did, I've gone to my console. This is my EC2 instance right here, okay? Let me show you what I have. So basically what I did, I just created, I boot up a two instance, which comes up right now. Let me refresh it. So we have a right here. We have a web server and Linux. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to connect to this guy first. I'm going to go here, click connect, okay, RDP. Yeah, this is my dad, and I have to get a password. I'm going to say get password, okay? Then this is the keeper, I use that. I'm going to use that, browse it, and that's going to be on my download folder, okay? That's going to be my download folder right here. Okay, it's going to be right here, and I'm going to say open, right? So this is that. Then I'm going to get my lovely password. Decrease the password. So what I'm going to do, I'm copy this guy, okay? Download remote desktop. I click here. Then I'm going to connect to the the server. All right. So I right click, paste that. Now I'm connecting that server. Now this server is boot up. Let me show you where its location. So this is booting up right now. So it's boot up a server 2019 server. That's all. It's a blank server. Okay. So this is located when I go back to. Let me go back to my services. I'll go back to VPC, show you what I have here, so you have some much better, okay? When I go to VPC, I have a have my VPC is right here, it comes up right now. You have 10.0.0/16 right here. That's my network is 10.0.0/16 right here. Inside that I have a bunch of subnet. Okay, so if I click here, I click one more time here, I have network 10 and .1.3. These are public subnet. Then I have a internet gateway, which I create that. Okay, that's the internet gateway. Then you have routing table. All has been configured before, as we've done it before. Okay, and this is the public route to goes out to internet. When I go to route tab, edit route, when I say 00, it's pointing to IGW. That's one part. Cancel. I get subnet association, and I have put .1 and .3 inside the routing table. So everything has been done as we've done this all the last before. I just want to refresh that. Now when I go back to EC2, I want to make sure I understand that I installed 2 server. Windows server is going to be on AWS Zone 1C. Linux servers right here. Windows server, as you see that right here, I go back here, is on what? 1C. And the Linux web is located at 1A, and therefore both in Virginia right here. Okay, so right now I RDP to the box. Okay, I'll go back to here. I'm inside that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go search here. Okay, and then I'm going to talk about server manager, because I want to install what? IIS. I want to make sure this server acts like a what? Web server. When you start a web server, we're going to create a basic page index.html here. Okay, so I'm just waiting this comes up. I'm going to type in server manager. Okay, so we just wait. This is server manager right here. So as this comes up, we're going to install IIS. So we're going to install this as a web server. So we want to make sure that this is going to be like a website. That's the whole idea of this lab is. We're going to have one web server on this machine, and then I'm going to SSH to the Linux box and also install a Apache server on the Linux box too. So we just wait. This has to finish it. Then here's it, add rows and future. I click that one. So right now we just have to wait a little bit because it's refreshing. So let's be patient. Now when I finish that on here, you're going to see IIS web server. So I'm going to add the row right here. Not yet, it's still refreshing. We just have to wait. Again, this is Windows 2019 server. It's a little bit slower because you need more memory, but it should come up fast. Right now, if I click here, I'm going to say next, say next, say next, next page. Then I'm going to pick what? Windows. I'm going to pick IIS, a web server. Okay, right now refreshing. We just have to wait. So you come down right here, see web server right here. Okay, add future, that's a web server. Next, 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 install. So right now I am installing what? IIS web server. Okay, now let's look at my notes. Let's look at my notes. Okay, then what I do inside the IIS, we need to go IIS manager. I have to find the IIS manager. Okay, I have to change the binding to port 8080, and also we're going to create a custom role on the Windows firewall will accept port 8080 as inbounds. Okay, that's the whole idea. Okay, now when you say IIS server, you have this folder. You're going to have C inet pod www root. I'm going to go there. I have to go there. Inside that folder, make sure you create a file called what? healthy.html. It's very important to have that file, healthy.html, and make sure you be able to access via that. Okay, so let's go back to my machine right here. Hopefully when it's finished, installing in process. Okay, when I finish that, this is the server. This is File Explorer. When I go here, as this finished, we just have to wait this finishes. Okay, when I go to C drive, this is my C drive. I go to C drive, it says 30 gig is. Then you have folders called inet pub, which is good right here. Then you have what? www root. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to open new text document right here. I'm going to call it healthy .html. Okay, now I'm going to open up this. I'm going to write a very basic home page and just write down HTML. This is help page for Windows Server. Okay, then I close the tag HTML, close it, close this guy, close save. Right now you see that it's a .html. There's Microsoft has something called extension is hidden. So what I do, I have to unhid that. So I go back to the search right here. I type in folder option. Okay, when I take folder, see folder option, I click this. Then I'll go view. There's something called what? Hide extension. Make sure this is not checked. Apply. Click OK. So that shows .txt. Okay, see that one? I have to what? Rename that. Otherwise, it's not gonna work. So rename that HTML and press enter. So you want to make sure the icon looks like this. Internet Explorer. Okay, cool. So this is also finished. I close that one right here. As you see, we have IIS right here. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go here, search for IIS Manager. I'm going to type in IIS. See, Internet. This. I'm going to right click this and find open location, and I'm going to send to desktop. This is IIS Manager. Send to what? Desktop. Okay. Now before I do I want to make sure everything works good. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to Windows. This is Linux machine right here. I'm going to highlight that one. I'm going to copy this IP address. Okay. Now when I go to, I should see default website comes up by Microsoft, which is good right here. Now when I type in slash index dot, I'm sorry, not index, healthy dot HTML, my page should comes up. This is a health page. So if you see this, that means your life. If you see this part, that means what? Working. Now remember that this is same as putting what? Colon what? AD. Because that's the default. Okay. Now the goal is we want to put colon AD. Of course, when I do right now, it's not going to work because that's not configured up. So that's the whole part of lab is you want to make sure you have AD right here. Okay. So look at my notes. Okay. So that's where you want to see this comes up. Okay. But what you have to do, inside the IIS, we need to go to IIS Manager and change the binding to port 8080. And also we have to go Windows Firewall, create custom roles to do this. So let me show you what I'm talking about. I go back to, see, it didn't work right now. I go back to my Windows right here. Okay. I double click this what? IIS what? Manager. Okay. You click on this server right here. You go down to your site, you click default website. In here, see that there's something called what? Binder on the right side. See that binder right here? I click this guy and I highlight this and I say edit. I want to make this port what? Listen to port 8080. Okay, because that's part of LabVIEW. Now I'm not finished yet. Why is that? I have to do a little bit more stuff. I have to go to search here. I have to go to firewalls. I'm going to start here. Windows Firewall. Okay. Okay, Firewall right here allows app through Windows Firewall. I click that one right here. Okay. Okay, and then well, it's not this. I'm sorry. I'm gonna go to here. So Windows Defender. Let's go Defender. I want this one. This one. Windows Defender Firewall and Advanced Security. Make sure you go to that one. Okay. I go to here, and when this comes up, I'm going to show you what I'm going. I'm going to do allow inbound rule so that the port 80 comes up. Okay. So I'm going to say under this is inbound rule. I'm going to say new rule right here. Okay. I'm going to say port number I'm going to say next. Then I'm going to put what port 80 what. Otherwise it doesn't work. 80, you have to open the file. 8080 next. I'm going to allow the connection next. All this applied next. Okay, and we're going to call that port 8080. Open. Okay, finish. Alright, so that's that part. Okay, I'm going to close this. I'm going to minimize that. Now I'm going to check it back from here. Remember that this was not working before. Now when I press enter, see, voila, it works. It goes to default web. So when I type in slash healthy.html, that will work. Oops, I messed up. I apologize. Healthy.html, that works. So this is so far what I did. I set up the what? I set up the what? Windows on this site. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to SSH to EC2, install Apache server. That's what I say in my notes right now. Okay, so I've done this. Now make sure your Linux machine, you will have a file inside the folder. We have to go to this folder. First we have to SSH say sudo su, the super user. First you update the what? The operating system. Then we're going to install httpd -y. This will install Apache server. We're going to set service http start and so on. Check config, all that. Make sure when you type this, make sure that your Apache server is on, even when you need to restart. Then you go to here to this folder, change directory var /html. Inside that one, we're going to say nano html, and we're going to create a file called nano html. It has to be inside that directly. The same thing we did for Microsoft, which was in the www root. This is Linux boxes. Okay, so what I'm going to do first, I have to SSH to Linux. This is my Linux machine. I reinstall it, right? And this is on what? 1A. Okay, so I'm going to connect. I'm going to SSH client. Okay, you can use any client you want. I'm going to copy these. I already downloaded to my what right here. See that? Download that. I'm going to show folder. And then what I do, I have a software which is called get. So I'm going to right click here and I'm going to say get. Sorry about that. I right click white area, I say get bash here. Okay, so you're right there. I'm going to right click and paste that. You can use probably anything like that. So basically what I need to connect to what? Linux box. I'm going to say yes right here. Okay, alright, so I'm right now here. Okay, I'm going to say what? Sudo su. I go to super user. Okay, then I'm going to say yum update minus what? So I want to update my what? Patches updates right here. Okay, right here. Then I'm going to say yum install http minus what? Okay, so after it's finished, I'll go back to here, right click paste minus y. That's going to install what? Apache server. Okay, and we say yes to here. That's for that one. Okay, so it does install that. Okay, the next thing I want to do after that, as I show you my notes, I want to do what? Service http to start. This, make sure to start service. So service http start. Service, sorry, httpd start. Make sure you start your web server. Okay, this is started right now. Then the next thing you want to do, look what I did. You want to say what? Check chk config http on. Make sure your Apache server is on when we restart that things. So chk config. So we're going to say chk config, right? http d on. Okay, that's that one. Okay, so ch config. Okay, then I'm going to go to that directory. So you have to be correct directory before we do that. We say change directory to var html. Make sure you have this directory right here. Okay, now there's nothing here. When I say ls, there's nothing here. Okay, So I'm going to say nano space healthy.html. We have to create a file here. We need this for our lab. Okay, that goes like here. I'm going to say this is health file for Linux server. Then I'm going to say Control X. Then I'm going to say Y to save it. And then it's going to press enter. If I type in ls, you see that one, right? Now I'm going to check it, make sure life is good before I do anything else. So I go back to here. I go back to instance right here. I'm going to copy paste my public AWS Linux. So I copy right here. When I click go, that should take me to default. This is default for Linux boxes. Okay. Now if I type in /healthy.html, I should get that page. Oops, I mistyped it. Now when I go back to my Linux, I type in ls, I see I mistyped it, so the spelling is wrong, so I have to change the name, rename. So I'm going to say mv, the wrong name, healthy. So we gotta be careful. healthy.html, and then put a new name, healthy.html. Okay, so it's mv, the old name and new name. Okay, healthy thy. So be careful with the spelling. Enter. Typing ls, I see that new name right here. Okay, now when I go back to my browser, if I click healthy.html, I should see that page comes out, which is good. Okay, so that's good. So right now I have ready everything. Okay, so I've done this. Okay, so when I type into IP address that, I should see the content. Okay, now we want to go over the labs. The goal is that when you create network load balance, which we're going to do that, when you type in the URL, when you type in the IP address URL, 80, that's going to go to a Linux machine. But when you type in the URL with the 8080, that's going to take you to Windows machine. That's the whole idea is. So when I finish my lab, if I type in :80, I should go to Linux machine. When I type in URL, this long DNS name, which we're going to see that going to Windows. Okay. So first we need to configure two target group. Okay, right here. I need to create target group for what? This guy for Windows and Linux. So I have to create two target group right now. That's what we're going to do right now. Okay, I'm going to create target group call for both. I'm going to pick instance target type. The first one I'm going to call it Windows group 1. That's TCP port 8080. And the other one is going to be Linux that, okay, which we're going to write now. So I'll go back to my console. See, this is load balancer and this is load balancer right here. But before we do load balancer, it's highly recommended to do target group. So let's do target group first, so you won't get not confused. I'm going to say target group. Okay, I'm going to say create target group. Okay, this type is going to be instance. Later I'm going to do lab, which I'm going to mix it application load balancer right now. So we're going to pick instance right here, and I'm going to call that Windows. Now here's what you have to be careful. Windows, okay, TG1. Okay, the port 80 right here. Okay, right here. Look at my notes. You want to pick TCP. Use the word TCP port 8080. So make sure you change this to TCP. Be careful, and that's going to be 8080. Okay, then you're going to pick the correct VPC. This one, right? You got to pick HTTP. Health check. Make sure you say that my note says health check has to be HTTP when you're going to talk in healthy.html. So here you're going to say HTTP. The path is going to be index. Be careful. I'm saying that index. My apologies. Healthy.html. Here's the keys. You gotta make sure this file exists on your Windows machine and also on Linux machine. Again, you're gonna put TCP port 8080. That's the Windows. Okay. Health check HTTP, and you're gonna say index.html, everything is as follow. Next, okay. Then here you have to register one of these guys, okay. So this is for Windows, so I've got to click here, that's the key thing, Windows Server, and make sure you include as what, pending below. So that's going to show up right here. Make sure you do this, make sure you click this, otherwise it's not going to work. Then you're going to say what, create a what, target what, group. So right now I create one target group, right? Now look at this, nothing here because I haven't done nothing yet. I'm just creating target. When I click target group, right now it says what is just what, unused. See that, unused. We haven't done nothing yet. Eventually this is going to change to something else, okay. So that's the first target group. This is called what, Windows. Now I have to do exactly same thing for what, Linux. It's going to be Linux. I'm going to go back here and I'm going to call the second target, I'm going to call it what, Linux GP2, but we're going to use port 80 TCP. So I'm going to call that Linux GP2, okay. And this one I'm going to put TCP, but I'm going to leave it port 80. I'm going to go back to 10.0.0.16 as my port is. Health check, make sure you change it to HTTP. Again, you're going to type in what, healthy.html. That's important. This one has to be http healthy.html. This file exists on Linux machine, and this should be TCP port 80. Okay, next. Now here you gotta be careful, you have to register. See, you have to say something, include pending. Don't save like that because there's nothing here. You have to be something here. So I'm going to pick what, Linux box. Okay, then you're going to say what, target group. Okay, register pending target group. So right now I have Windows. Look at this, is listening to what, port 8080. That's TCP. Okay, there's nothing there yet. And then I have what, I create target group what, Linux group right here, and that's that one right here. Okay, now in real world, if I look at the diagram, I could have what, two of these. See, I could have 1 2 3 4 or 1 2 3 4. You're going to put all this group in Windows and what, Linux. Okay, so we have just created what, a target what, group. All right, that's very important. Okay, so look what I said, during the target group we need to pick correct EC2 and make sure you include as a pending and make sure you save it. Okay, again, when you're going to see that, it's going to see as unused. And also on the column load balancer you do not see anything because we haven't associated there. Okay, now I'll go and create my load balancer, network load balancer, and in here make sure you add two listening here, one for TCP port 80 and another for TCP port 8080. Then make sure you pick correct target group. So port 80 goes for Windows and for port 80 goes what, TG. Make sure you pick correct AZ and pick correct AZ and correct public address. So what we're going to do now, I'll go back to the left. Remember that this is load balancer. So we've done the what, target group. We've done our target group. Now I gotta go load balancer. I'm going to create load balancer, right? Again, we did lab on application load balancer, which is we've done like it's based of HTTPS. Now here we're going to do what, load balancer based of what, network load balancer. Okay, I'm going to create this. I'm going to call it what, NLB, network load balance. Okay, interface is fine, this is fine. Now here's you gotta be careful, change your VPC to 10.0.0.16 right here. We're gonna pick what, 1A. Okay, that's the public IP, that's good, subnet. Then I have to pick what, 1C, remember that, that's public subnet, right? This. Now here's the key part. This is listening port 80. Right now is what, port 80, you want to forward this, you're going to create to what, to target group. Which one is the port 80? If you look at my things, port 80 is what, Linux. Remember that? In this target group, I go back to my diagram right here. So anything with port 80 goes to where, Linux box right here. Okay, so I'm going to pick what, Linux, right? Then I'm going to add another listener. I'm going to say TCP, but I'm going to write what, 8080. Okay, here I'm going to pick what, Windows. Okay, that's that one. Then create what, load balancer. Okay, so it may take time, minutes for your load balancer to be fully set up and ready to add traffic. Target will also take a few minutes to complete registration process and pass the health check. So when I do view right here, so right now it's still in what? Provisioning. See that one? So it's not finished. It takes time. So if I go back to target group, now watch this. When I go to Linux GP, see that right now is what? What state? If I refresh it, is what state? Is what? Initial right here. See that? Okay. If I go back target group again, go back to Windows. Right here is what? If I refresh it, right here again is health status unused. It's not connected yet, so it's not. It takes time. Okay, so we have to be what? See, it's like initial state is right here, so it takes time. So we have to make sure it takes time. So we have to wait to network load balancer finish it, and also target group. Again, make sure you pick correct AZ and pick an incorrect. We've done that, right? Now it takes approximately 5 to 7 minutes to create network load balancer. Now when you go to each of the target group, you will see both our initial state, then it will get what? Healthy. So it's going to take time. Now if you go back to the target group page, you will see in front of the load balancer column the network load balancer and both Windows and this. So what I'm saying that when this whole thing is finished, right? So let's go back to load balancer right now. Still what? Provisioning. Okay, nothing's finished yet. Go back to target group. When I go back in target group right now, see it did pick up right now. Before it was nothing there. Okay, see this is filled up and this got filled up, because remember this was nothing here, right? Now we have to go one by one, make sure they're healthy. I'm gonna go click here. Okay, this is initial state again. I'm gonna refresh that right here. It's still on what? Initial. See that? It's initial. It takes time. Okay. When I go back to other target groups, okay, when I go to Linux target group, okay, if I click refresh, it's still what? Not finished yet. Okay, so we just have to what? Okay, there's nothing here. Apparently this one did not take it. Let me see. This is Linux 2. I have to register target. It did not register. This is Linux, so I'm gonna put this Linux, okay, includes pending. So it's right here. I registered this guy because there was nothing. I don't know what happened. So right now is the initial status. So the key is just what? Wait. Okay. Go back to the load balancer. Still what? If I refresh it, this is what? Provisioning. Now again, when you finish it, if you go listener, you have two listener. One is port 80, okay? That goes forward to what? Linux group. And the other one's what? Port 8080. That's going to go to what? Windows. So that's what we have in Linux right here, okay? Is this clear? In case you made a mistake, you can go here and click here and just edit these guys, okay? You can change all of this in case you made a mistake. So let's just wait. Go back to load balancer again. Go back to description. Still what? Provisioning. So it's gonna take time. Okay. So let me go back to load this again. When I go click here, Linux, still what? Initializing. Takes time. Okay. So let me summarize what we did so far. Basically, what we did here, we created, we boot up a server, Windows 2000 server right here, which we did right here. Okay, this is 2000 server. Then what I did, I went to what? To this PC. I went to the C drive, right? I went to inet pub and I went www and I created what? healthy.html. Then I went back to the Internet Information IIS Manager, right? I changed the binding. When I break this up, I went back to what? Default website right here. I click here, I click here, and then in front of them in the binding, I changed the support what? 8080. Okay, that's one thing I did that right. And other thing I did, we went to the where? To Firewall I just want to refresh what we did. I type in Defender. Okay, Windows Firewall Advanced Security. I went right here, right? And then you have to do this, otherwise it's not going to work. I went to inbound rule and I create what? This rule. And I did that. I click new rule right here. I went ports. I went down right here. Next. I pick TCP. That port what? I type in 8080. Okay. I just want to show you that right now what I did. We're not going to do right now. Then I said next. Allow connection next. And I give it a next. And I give a name. Port 8080. Okay. Open. Then I said finish. So that's what I did. Okay. Now again, if you go back to the, if I go back to my EC2, I go back to instance. Okay. If I go back to the Windows right here, if I copy this as the go-to, it's not going to work because this is port what? 80. So I have to push colon 8080. I press enter. That works, right? That's the default IS. Then I put a file name. It's called what? Healthy. Again, you just need some kind of file name, HTML, because that's what you need. That part of what? That works, right? That's for that part. We did the same thing for Linux. Okay, so that's what we did. Now go back to the, let's say, target group. Let's see what we have. Let's go to load balance. I apologize. Active. So this is good. So this is finished right here. Let's go to target group. When I go to the Windows, I click here. Okay, it's initial. Let me see if I refresh it. Let's see what happened. All right, this is healthy. So that's good. See that healthy right here, and that's just one healthy. This was what? Windows target group. Let's go to target group. Again, let's go to Linux target group. If I click refresh right here, and this is unavailable. That's not good. So we just have to wait due to internal error. That's very interesting. Okay, let's just wait. Okay. So one way to do that, let's test it. Maybe it works. Okay. Now look at my notes. I come down right here. Okay, so it takes approximately 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, when you go to each of them, you will see both initial and it comes there. Now if you go back to the target group page, you will see in front of load balancer column the network. We saw that. Now let's go back to load balancer. On the left side, when you click on listener, you see point to that one. So if I go back to load balancer right here, okay, if I click listener, this is where we have, see that port 80 is going to what? Linux group, and port 80 goes to that one. Again, if the mistake is, you can click here and edit and change that one. Okay, next thing. Now if you go to last logo and click on description tab, then copy paste long DNS name, you should be able to go to Linux machine port 80 and Windows machine port 88. That's the whole idea of this lab is. So if I go back to what? This description. Okay, so I'm going, this is a long DNS name right here. Not long DNS name. I'm going to copy this right here. I'm going to copy this, right? If I right click paste, then I put what? Colon 8080. That should take you to me what? To Windows server machine. See, that looks good. That works in. Okay. If I say that even healthy .html, I should see that page comes up. That's good. Now instead of this, I put port 80. 80 is the default. You don't have to put it there, but let me put just colon 80. Okay, we don't need this. Colon 80. That should take to what? To Linux box. But remember that the Linux was not working good. So we just have to wait to see what's happening, if this is working or not. Again, that's how you troubleshoot. To troubleshoot, we're going to go back again to where? Target groups. Now let's go back to target group. See, Windows, when I click here, Windows is healthy, life is good, which we saw that. But when I go to target group, when I go back to Linux right here, Oh, this is healthy right now. Oh, good. This is healthy too. So that's good. So when I go back, see, now it shows up right here. So that looks good. It took time only. So if I go back to load balancer, one more time, I'm going to copy long DNS name right here. I'll open new tab, right click, paste, but put what? :80. See? Oops. Oh, not 88. I'm sorry. Just 80. I press enter. That takes to test page. That's supposed to be like that. Remember that? Now when I put slash healthy.html, it should take me to that Linux. So again, what's happening here, I want to make sure you understand that if you put a long DNS 8080, so based on the port number, TCP UDP, based off the port number, it goes to 80, goes to here Linux. Now this could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 like that, but I'm just using one server, and then port 80 goes right here. Okay, so I come down all the way here, right here. Okay, now what you can do, instead you memorize this hint, even you might see in front of one of the targets is unhealthy, but both URL might be working. So as you see, one of them doesn't work. If this works, it's fine, because sometimes that has happened to me. So you go to group, target group is unhealthy, but the whole URL is working. Now if I go to Route 53, I can create a record, because you and I, we don't memorize this long DNS name. So I have about domain name. If I go back to here, I go back to Route 53 right here. So basically what I've done, I have bought a domain name, okay, which I'm going to show you right now. So that's a friendly name. So memorize that long DNS. I'll go to hosted zone right here. And I have shown a video before how you can buy domain name. This is domain name. We have host domain name, okay, Hamid777.com, right? So what I'm going to have some old record name. I'm going to delete this first. Then I'm going to create what? New what? A record. I'm going to create a record right here. Okay. Now here's the key. You gotta turn this alias on. Then you're going to go to where? Network what? Load balancer right here. Then you want to pick region. I just say N, like Northern Virginia. I press enter. Okay. So when I say, or just a V as Virginia, see Northern Virginia comes up right here. Then you can choose what? NLB right here. You click that, right? I don't need target health like that. I just create what? A record. So right now we have a record right here. Okay. Point to that. That means if I type in Hamid77757.com/80, that should take me to what? Windows, according to my diagram, which is right here. Okay, right here. Now if I type in regular things 80 right here, if I press enter, that's 80. That should take me to what? Linux box. Let's wait. Let's see if that comes up. Again, when you :80, that's the default list. Okay, so we're just waiting. That will show up. So let's just wait. Again, takes time to what? Right here. See that? It went to Linux box. Now if I type in healthy.html, that goes to my healthy page, which is right here, Linux. If I type like this, :8080/healthy.html, that take you down. Okay, great. So that finished this section of the lab. That finished this section of. Thank you so much for watching. Now if you have any question or any comment, you can go to our page again. You can contact us as right here, the name and the phone number, everything here, and fill up the form for us. So thanks so much. And again, everything I've done that is going to be inside the blogs right here, and it's going to go to Amazon AWS. Thanks so much. Have a good day.